This is WOMMLP operating out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. It's The Rocket Shop. Good evening. I'm your host, Tom Proctor, and with me tonight is Hannah. Hannah, hello.
Hello.
Absolute pleasure having you back in the studio.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine.
How have you been since the last time I saw you? I think we had Honey and Soul, your other band, in, 2, 3 years ago now?
More than that. Yeah, it's gotta be probably like 4 years at this point. Maybe 3.
I'm really excited to hear what new things have come out of your brain in that period of time.
Thanks, yeah, a lot of things have come out of this thing, this brain thing.
On that note, we like to kick it off with a song, so what you got for us?
Sure, yeah, this is called Take Flight. I'll be releasing this song at some point soon. Yeah, hope you like it. Mystery to me, where I can never seem to be just fine. I walk out into the dawn with my softest slippers on and take flight. I fly with 1,000 butterflies. Softer than I have ever appeared to be. And in the nighttime I turn into the sea. I fly with 1,000 butterflies.
Take Flight. So as you mentioned, that one's off potentially a new album, which I'm very excited to listen to. So is this something I feel like it's been in the works for a little while, and what else have we what have we got to expect coming from you in the near future? Is this kind of a harbinger of maybe something larger?
Yeah, so got a little frog in my throat, like right at that last note. Anyways, so yeah, I have this band called Honey and Soul, and it's so dear to my heart, and it's so great. Things are awesome. We're recording an album, and then I also just like have all this music that I'm always writing, at least up until now. And it just became like the songs really wanted to exist, and the band could only go so fast. So I just was like, I need to do these songs justice and just get them out there somehow. So I have a friend in New York who's a producer, and I brought, it was just gonna be one song, and then it was like, okay, just 3, and then it was like, would it be crazy if we did 7? So there's 7 songs that we recorded this past year, and I've released 2 already. I'm releasing them all as singles, and then maybe I'll put them together as an album, but I'm just kind of like seeing how it feels as I go, and as like quickly as I can get it all together is like when it comes out. So this is the 3rd, and then there will be 4 more, if I did my math right.
I think so.
Yeah.
Never a good subject for me in school, so I'm going to take your word for it. It seems to be a general trend at the moment for musicians to, rather than come out with a full album, like this is something I've been working on for the past 2 years, be more like, okay, I've been writing this song for the past 2 months, and I've perfected it, and I've recorded it, and it's ready, and I want that to get out there now. And so a lot more people have been just kind of releasing singles. Do you guys all get together and talk about doing this, and
Totally.
that's how these trends work?
Yeah, there's a secret gathering space.
I knew it.
No, but in all seriousness, like the music industry is really changing as like music is mostly streamed now. So whereas like you would have an album and you would craft this beautiful thing and sell it at shows, or like your label would sell it and you'd make a bunch of money. People aren't like making money that way anymore. So, and because of streaming and the way like you can just listen, like bop around and listen to one song from one artist and playlists and all that, like I wanted to release an album, like, and I had all these songs like really intentionally kind of crafted in specific order, and just like with conversations with my producer and thinking about it in the context of music today, it really felt like there's a chance and a high probability that a lot of the songs would get lost, whereas like I can release one, I can put a lot of love and energy into announcing it and putting it out there, and like having, all the attention and the hype get built for like one song, and then people listen to it, and then I could do that again as many times as I want, as opposed to like I'm putting this hype around like one album, and maybe people will listen to all the songs, but I've put so much time into every song, So, yeah.
Does that change the way that you write songs? Are you writing it for a different audience, or writing it for, I don't know, as you have got a hype of every single song, does that change the way that these things kind of come together, and the way that you go into the recording studio, and even the content of the song itself?
Not personally. I can't say that will not change. I mean, I know that some people they'll write for an album. They'll like have the idea of the album and then write a song. They know it's going to be the 5th song on the album. But I don't write that way, maybe because I also didn't know that was a thing until recently, so I haven't tried writing that way. It's more just like, how do I fit all these songs that I've already written together into an album? So, no, that's not really like a thought for me while I'm writing. I try and like block out everyone else while I'm writing. Yeah.
with your writing process and blocking everyone out, is that a process you do on a daily basis, or are you like, okay, March is the month I do not talk to anyone, I'm going to my writing cave and no one get in contact?
Oh man.
Or is this kind of, is it a mix and match? How do you write a song?
Well, first of all, I wish I had a writing cave. And I wish that I had like the financial stability to like have a whole month to just like have a writing cave. Perhaps someday. But no, when I say I block everyone out, I really mean like I try and not think about what other people are going to think about the music. Like I try and not be in like a judgment space so that I can create a container for myself to be vulnerable and express what I'm feeling. I do feel like as I've taken myself more seriously as an artist in the last few years, I do have like scheduled in my GCal, I have scheduled studio time, which just means like I sit down and I have allocated time to either write or whatever it is that I need to be doing. But yeah, like when I create the space, I write. Like it just comes out. So I don't know, like oftentimes I'll write, it'll be this like outpouring of emotion in whatever song because it needs to come out. It feels right. And sometimes I can create space and something will come out. So I don't know, I feel quite lucky, and also I put a lot of respect and attention to it and create time.
You do mention in your bio that you've used music, in the writing process to heal your emotional wounds. Does that mean you do have to be in kind of, even though it's scheduled on the GCal, like, okay, this is where I slay my demons with my music sword, and I'm going to go into that space. Or does it have to be during like some time where you got a bit more of a heightened emotion and you do feel like you need to use that salve to kind of get through something?
Yeah, I appreciate this question because I really like intentionally don't want to fall into the tortured artist trap. I don't want to exist like that in the world. And when I write lately, anyways, like as I've been evolving, I feel like I write what I need to hear. Like if I'm feeling a certain way, like there's a part of me feeling a certain way, and maybe like, yeah, maybe this part just needs to have the stage and I need to like give that to this one way that I'm feeling. And sometimes it's intense and that's like, yeah, maybe I need to carve out the rest of the day. And sometimes I feel like maybe more often, like I'm feeling a certain way, and what feels healing is about the music is that I can tap into something deeper and vaster and more grounded that can be present for those feelings that are hard. And like that's where I write the music from. Like it's like I'll be speaking, the music will be like speaking to the part of me that's struggling, or whatever, So it's also nice because like I've definitely written the experience of playing the songs later. Like if I'm playing from a place of like the feeling was really intense and I'm playing it later, it can be like, oh God, I'm going to play the song and it's so vulnerable and hard. Or it's like I'm just like reminding myself some really helpful things like kind of every day when I play. Yeah.
Some of those songs are just mantras, really, just to kind of be like, oh yeah, no, maybe I should give myself some space or time or what have you. Do you ever surprise yourself when you're writing? Do you ever kind of write a line, you're like, oh, wait, hold on a second, I was feeling like this and I had no idea about that and it just kind of happened to rhyme or something?
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's funny you say that because and like I was saying with not having the judgment there, like I try and really trust the words that come out of me. And I kind of have this thing where I'm like, well, I could just change it later. And I almost never do. Like it's almost always like exactly what comes out in the moment. And there's definitely parts of me that are like, oh, what did you just say? Like that's not, I don't know. Are we sure we want to say this? And I just like let it come out. I do the whole song and then I'm like, wow. And sometimes, it's really crazy. Actually, the next song I'm going to play. I wrote this song I took a week to myself at my friend's cottage on Lake Willoughby called Isbell Cottage, and
The musical cave.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I had a week. Yeah, and I wrote this song, and there's this line in the song that's like the sway of the dancer, I give my burden to the wind. And I wrote that and I was like, whatever the F that means. and then like I didn't think about it. I was just living my life. Then the next day I went on this hike and it was so windy. It was so windy. I promise you that I was not thinking about those lyrics. And I was processing a lot of grief on that trip. And I just was like, I don't know, no cell service, no Wi-Fi, like a week deep into this trip. I was just like following my intuition every day there. And like, I was on this mountain and it was so windy. And I just like started moving my body in this way and like giving my burden literally to the wind. And I came back like later that night and I was singing that song and I was like, what? Wait, what? This is nuts. Like, I mean, it was in my body, like, I knew it needed to happen, but sometimes it's so, like, that's not that might have been the first time it was so, like, literal, but, like, there's often times when I write words and I don't understand them, then I need to do some more, like, digging and processing, and then later on, I'm like, oh, shit, I knew.
Do you ever write about any lottery numbers or anything? Maybe in the last few days.
Yeah, yeah, but I'll let you know off the air.
I think as you kind of you've kind of already introduced this next song, so I'm very curious to hear it.
Yeah, yeah. So this song I released. When did I release it? At the end of July. It's out there. It's called Isbell Cottage. I'm slyly tuning my guitar as I tell you this. And I'm really proud of it. It makes me feel good.
And on the single release on Spotify, I noticed it has the actual picture of the cottage that you're staying at, which looks gorgeous, by the way. You had the whole place to yourself at that time?
Yeah, my friend is so generous and so kind, and she just was like, I was like, hey, I need a break. She was like, here you go. Yeah.
Well, would love to hear Isbell Cottage.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Here we go. Like the hand holds the paddle, I know my way to the shore. Like the bird grooms his feathers, I dip my bones aching and sore, and I need space to breathe, and I remember to grieve. I can hold me. Like the sway of the dancer, I give my burden to the wind. Like the moonlight to the meadow night, I'm shown the way. And I remember to breathe. I can hold me. 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 I can hold me.
Hannah there with Isabel Cottage. It's just a gorgeous song. What a melody that goes with it. It's so driving but slow, melodic. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Did you feel at the end of that experience at Isabel Cottage that you had the right amount of space to be able to grieve? Was that putting it into this song? Was that enough? Did you leave it feeling that there was more that you needed to be there for, or was this kind of like closure almost?
I wouldn't quantify it as like enough. If I feel grateful, it was really, really helpful. Grief is like such process, and it doesn't end. It like kind of just like folds in and incorporates. Having the space like really, really was helpful. I mean, it was enough in that it's all enough. Like it's all what I've got to work with. So, yeah.
You did mention earlier on that, a lot of these songs you had while kind of writing and working with Honey and Soul, your Femme Trio. If you've never listened to Honey and Soul, go listen to them, find them playing live. They're incredible. And I actually remember very distinctly on New Year's Day a few years back watching you in a synagogue play. That was a few years back now, but that was just...
Oh, you were there for that?
I was there for that,
Nice.
yeah. I was feeling rough, but you gave me life that morning / afternoon. I'm not sure what time it was. But because, as you said, because as a trio, it takes much longer to kind of get things practiced and down and ready and whatnot. You needed to release these songs. As you've kind of moved more into your solo work, I mean, you kind of started solo work from earlier than 2018. Have you started writing songs just for yourself as a solo artist, or are any of these songs still kind of like, they could be for Honey and Soul, they could be for Hannah? How does that work?
Yeah. So. It's interesting because like I write all the music for Honey and Soul, and for a long time I just had this like big bank of songs and we're like, okay, let's do that one. So it was like already written, and now we're playing with 5 pieces. We're playing with drums and upright bass too, and it's been so fun. And now that we have like this bigger sound, I've been writing more songs. Like, okay, this song, like I just wrote a song, and in my head I'm like, there's gonna be like a huge string crescendo at the end, and then like it's gonna get so crazy, and everyone in the whole band and maybe everyone in the audience is also gonna be singing along to like this section. So in that sense, like I think I am kind of writing more to this like bigger sound. And as far as Hannah songs go, like I don't know. I think sometimes I'll write a song and I'll bring it to the group and to Honey and Soul, and they'll be like, we could this song maybe just doesn't need so much. And those songs are also really beautiful and good. I guess I don't really know the answer to your question. But yeah, I think the Hannah Hannah songs are just like these ones that were coming, and Honey and Soul were like a really slow and intentional group, and I love us and I love our pace, and there is like a part of me that's like like I want to keep going. Yeah. So I bring that energy to Hannah.
Is it the kind of the case that you'll bring something to Honey and Soul, and as you said, you feel like, no, this doesn't fit our sound, and so do you need to be told really that this is for Hannah and this is for Honey and Soul, or is there something that you'll finish writing and you're like, nah, this is mine, I'm gonna guard this one slightly jealously?
Nah, it hasn't really happened yet. Like, it's been so rare that it'll be like, this is just like a quiet song for you or something. But now that I've like produced these songs solo, like I'm not really bringing them to the group. I don't know, but it doesn't feel like I'm like mine. Yeah, I love when other people, like, I feel so honored when other people like want to play these songs with me and then like compose or like produce their parts, and it like transforms, and there's like no part of me that feels like this is all mine and not yours. Yeah.
So your first EP, your first kind of solo project, I believe, To the River. So that came out in 2018.
Pulling it out from the depths,
right?
Tom.
I've got all sorts of knowledge.
Oh yeah, I'm like seeing that. Okay, yeah.
So that was a pretty ambitious project to start off with for an initial solo artist. I mean, you very clear that it was going to be centered around radical honesty, and that's a pretty big thing to lift, especially for a first solo project. So yeah, tell me more about how that central theme shaped the project and why you chose that vulnerable subject to be kind of that focal point.
Radical honesty. I don't know. I think it's just like who I am, and I feel really strongly about moving through the world from a really authentic place. Mostly because, well, maybe not mostly, but like initially probably because I just like can't fake it. I just like never have been able to. I think it's like a big part of my process is to like learn how to have like walls and boundaries that are healthy, as opposed to like, these are all my feelings, you know, or like other people's process is to like break down those walls, and it's like finding some balance. Yeah.
So is your current work also centered around radical honesty? It never changed from the age of 19 to now. You have always centered radical honesty in the work that you've done. Yeah, I think so. Although I feel, it's funny, I like hearing you say radical honesty. I feel like I haven't thought about that phrase in a while. I'm trying. Yeah. It sounds like you don't really have too much control of it anyway. It's almost like, you know, the eyes roll back and the muses flow through you, and all of a sudden you've learned a lot about yourself after you've written a song.
Yeah, sometimes it's more work to like get grounded and come into that place. But yeah, it's definitely like an ongoing intention, I would say.
As obviously you kind of pour your heart and soul into all these songs, obviously you're very keen about sharing these songs with not just Honey and Soul, but any audience as well. Is there any other song that you kind of come up that you really love, but you're like, oh god, this one kind of cuts deep, or anything like that? Do you ever get that where you're like, I'm not going to actually show this one off, this one's either for me, or I'm just going to pop that in the memory vault and lock it and never open it again?
It's funny, there are songs that I don't want to play that like there are people that want me to play that I feel like aren't so vulnerable, or like, I don't know, like there's like one song I'm thinking of in particular that my dad just like really loves, and it reminds me of like, I don't know, I feel embarrassed about it, like, but like you know, to his credit, like there are people that like that song, and I just like really don't want to play it. Like I don't remember how to play it. I wrote it in college, like I don't know, probably like 8-9 years ago, and like, yeah, I think, yes, there are definitely songs from like the early days of writing that I'm like not trying to play anymore. And I have so many songs that are like in the roster that I just forget how those go. So even if someone asked me, I wouldn't be able to.
So they just kind of naturally just drop off. You're like, well, I'm sorry, they're just kind of lost to the ages.
Yeah, there are some songs. I do have like a running list of all the songs I've ever written, and there are some that I wish I did remember or like wrote down somewhere where I remembered where I wrote it down so that I could bring it back. But
how do some of these songs? I mean, because obviously you're writing about your kind of lived experience. How do you relate? What's your relationship with some of these songs that are older? Maybe not the ones that you've kind of intentionally dropped off the roster, but like some of the ones you do return back to. How has your relationship changed with some of these songs from the earlier days when you play them, like the way you think about them?
Yeah, that's so cool. That's a cool thing to think about. It's interesting because once the song comes to me, it's like really helpful for me. And then when I bring it out and show it to other people, like hopefully and through like experiences that people have told me, like it's helpful to them. And then it kind of just like it feels like it's like a kid in some ways, that like I'm raising it and then sending it out into the world, and I'm like, okay, like go do your magic, you know, and I'm gonna do my best to like keep you like supported. Mm-hmm. And I think like, yeah, just there's certain songs that I wrote from like really like specific places, and I'll perform them, and they don't feel the same way that they did when I performed them right after I wrote them, you know. But like maybe to one of my bandmates, they like hit really deep, and now the song's about them. Mm. And when I play it and I'm holding space for them, or like there's someone told me, I think it's okay to share this, but that they played a song for a client of theirs, like they're a therapist, like a music therapist, and it really spoke to the client, which kind of like blew my mind, honestly. But that's, I guess, just an example to show like I don't know where these songs are gonna go, and they just kind of, they're like snapshots for me, and also not about me anymore after a certain point. Sometimes they'll like circle back around and be relevant again.
So I had a point when I was 20. Yeah. But it's interesting you say that. It's kind of it's almost you relinquish that ownership once you put it into that space, and now that that song that was once your child might now be several other people's children.
I hope so. That's the goal. Yeah.
Well, we'd love to hear another child. So what you got for us?
Here's my baby. I guess I'll play. Okay. Well, this song is called The Rise, and because I talked about my dad liking that song, I'm gonna play it because I don't know actually if he's listening, but he really likes this one too, and it's like, yeah. I wrote it for my like middle school child. Honestly, like after doing some work in therapy, and I love her. I love her so much, and this song is for her. Okay. No, I don't want to do it like, okay. Come and take me by the hand. I know they don't understand. I see how they make you feel small, but baby, don't worry at all. A blessing in disguise, the fall and then the rise. It's in your half moon eyes. Oh my, how good time flies. inches away from becoming what I've always wanted, inches away from becoming what I fear. Said I am at home with the heartache and hurricane, hungry for something that I can barely hear. Inches away from becoming what I've always wanted, inches away from becoming what I fear.
All right, The Rise there by Hannah for Hannah's dad. So,
Ken.
Kevin.
Ken.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Ken. My apologies. So great song. I love that you dredged that one up for your dad. That's great.
Thanks, yeah.
Let's talk about some of the newer singles that you got coming out.
Yeah.
Specifically, 23 Pelican Sky.
Yeah.
I went on your website and you created a really cool music video for
Thanks.
it. So I want to hear more about that, and I also want to know where you got that bike from because it's really cool.
Yes, so 23 Pelican Sky, I wrote that song on the beach in Costa Rica when I was with my now ex on a bike trip, and he bikes really fast and I bike not as fast, and I was like really grappling with that and other things. But yeah, I did this music video with Macaulay Lerman, who's so talented. And we also, Honey and Soul just did 2 music videos with him too. But yeah, we went to the Cape because it felt important for it to be at the ocean. And
You're from Massachusetts as well,
I'm
right?
from Massachusetts as well.
Yeah, so I can see how the whole thing kind of layers.
Yeah, I didn't grow up on the ocean, but I do love the ocean. I think I love the ocean more now than I ever did growing up. Just like the ocean feels like the oldest teacher, like the first breather or something, like with its like it was just alive before anything else. And I just like sit there and I feel like I'm hit with waves of like revelations always. So yeah. 20 and the bike, the bike is a Bossy bike by this great bike company in Montreal. A friend of mine works there and helped design the bike. CNL Cycles is the shop, but they have this line called Bossy Bikes, and yeah, I love it. It's a great bike. I would recommend the bike.
I genuinely didn't expect there to be actually a story behind the bike. I just saw it in the video and I was like, oh, that's
Okay.
really cool. And you, obviously, Old Spokes or something had one spare.
Definitely. Well, I used to work at Old Spokes, and they have those bikes there. So yeah,
It might be why it pinged in my head when I saw it.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool video. And so were you trying to kind of somewhat recreate this moment in Costa Rica? Because obviously there you'll be by the sea, you're on the bike in the video. What's the message? What's the story that you're telling in that video?
Definitely wasn't trying to recreate that moment. But I was trying to. The message of that song is about going at my own pace, going at your own pace, and being like so okay with that. And a lot of that is like this process. I had like a pretty severe brain injury like almost 2 years ago that I was out of work for like over a year, and yeah, it was really intense, and like was working through a lot of my internalized ableism, and my pace really changed. And this like a lot of what I was grappling with was that I feel like I was just trying to spread my wings with my music, and I had to realize that like spreading my wings could look really differently than I had ever expected it to, and it was still really a valid experience, and expanding my mind to like include non-ableist ways of wing spreading, I guess. And yeah, so that like kind of being like, there's like that theme in the song of like being at my own pace, healing, being at my own pace, creating music, like seeing kind of like represented by like a couple like in the video, and actually in real life there was this couple at the beach that was just like so picturesque. It was like, what? Like, how are you so perfect looking in the sunset, in the ocean, whatever? And I was just like seeing that, and I feel like that image sort of represented this this like, I don't know, just like I don't need to be there. Like I'm doing this differently, and I'm at my own pace, in my own place, and that is okay. And so the video itself has that sort of imagery, because I think it's like fun, and also, again, speaking to what I had mentioned earlier about like these songs being like saying from a more like grounded place, holding space for those emotions. I feel like I was trying to channel like the me that was really okay with going at my own pace, whereas like the bike trip like probably didn't look like that.
Right.
Me like smiling riding my bike.
Well, the bike trip it seems like an actual juxtaposition where you weren't allowed to go your own pace, and it probably annoyed you a little bit.
I'm talking too much smack about this bike trip. It was really nice also, but that is speaking to that one feeling of like just the contrast of like feeling really slow. Yeah.
And the other single that you have out on Spotify right now with Eric George, big Heavy World favourite. Great song. I would encourage everyone to listen to it. It's called I Want to Make Out With You. Loved listening to it, but then the curiosity in my brain pinged on, and as you're in Honey and Soul, and obviously if you're a fantastic artist yourself, you probably have a kind of a pick of who you could collaborate with in Burlington, in Vermont. I'm wondering who else kind of top of mind for you that you would love to collaborate that you haven't yet.
Whoa. I don't know.
Just putting you on the spot right now to name names.
So I don't know the answer to that question, but I have been like, talking to different producers, and like definitely welcome people to come to me and we could talk. But I have a project that I'm sitting on right now, and I'm trying to also like finish this Honey and Soul record and like finish all these releases, and I have to like slow myself down. So I haven't really been in the headspace of like, I've sort of been like with like one eye looking like who's gonna be the right. I think I might work with the same producer that I'm working with now for this other project. I'm thinking of that's more of like a heritage project that I don't want to say too much about right now. But you should just like follow me, and you'll hear about it, but it's really exciting. Yeah, so I'm in the R&D phases of this project, and like have my ears and eyes out for like people that I could collaborate with, potentially, like specifically if anyone's like really knowledgeable about like Spanish, Middle Eastern, Turkish music. Curveball alert. But
Throw that one out into the universe.
Yeah, working with some root stuff.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to obviously come back in once this is once that gets going. We've not got too much time left.
Yeah.
Obviously, love to find out where you're playing next. Where can people see you live, and then also how do people find you online and listen to all of your great music?
Yeah. So you can find me online. If you just go to my Linktree, which is actually not Linktree, it's bio.site/Hannah. Then you get all the links, but like Instagram, Facebook, working on that TikTok. I'm hiring someone to help me with that. And I'm playing at the poetry, the lit club, actually in a couple weeks, and I really wish in this moment that I remembered the date. But if you follow me on social media, I'm gonna post about it. And yeah, Honey and Soul. We are in the process of booking some stuff, so like we don't have anything booked right now until January, but we are going to be booking stuff like next month. It's just not in the books yet. But follow us, Honey and Soul Music, honeyandsoulmusic.com, hannahhmusic.com. Hopefully I covered all the bases there.
I think so.
Okay.
Also go to hannahhmusic.com.
Yeah, it's 2 H's in the middle there.
Hannah
A.
H.
Yeah.
Music.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I saying that right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but like Hannah has an H at the end of it, so it's like HNNAHH.
Okay, got it. Yeah, the double H at the end. But definitely go there to look at the music videos as well, because it's phenomenal. It's a great song. Well, thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it. What song have you got to play us out with?
I'm gonna play a song called Biggest Pretender. The last song is also gonna be released as a single. This one's also gonna be released as a single. It's a song. I'm just gonna have a sip of my tea real quick. Be just what it is, rose scented lotion like a kiss. Ooh, ooh, be with the change just like the clouds. I'm getting turned just inside out. Ooh, ooh, is it the tide that I can't cry? Help me remember. And the sun in my eyes, truth in disguise. You're the biggest pretender. Wait by your side in case you fall, and you're surprised about it all. Ooh, ooh, it's rare that you remember me while you're caught up in your fantasy. In your fantasy, is it the tide that I can't cry? Help me remember. And the sun in my eyes, truth in disguise. You're the biggest pretender. Oh no, it's not what you say, but my breath I pay on the eve of calling it a day. So go be with her. Don't follow me. I will leave before you leave me. Oh, is it the tide that I can't cry? Help me remember. And the sun in my eyes, truth in disguise. You're the biggest pretender. Oh, is it the tide that I can't cry? Help me remember. And the sun in my eyes, the truth in disguise. You're the biggest pretender.
Hannah playing us out there with Biggest Pretender. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me, Big Heavy World.
Well, anytime, and I'm very, very interested to know what this new project is. I feel like you teased us quite a lot with that one, so please come back in when that gets sorted, and I hope you do find someone who can sing Spanish or Turkish or all the rest.
It's more about the instrumentation that I'm looking for.
I'm
For anyone that's listening.
Glad you clarified that for
Thank you.
anyone who would have got in contact who could sing Spanish.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we've got time for tonight. You can join us next week when Derek O'Canos is coming in. O'Canos is coming in. So please listen back in then. But for tonight, this has been WOMMLP operating out of Burlington, Vermont. 105.9 The Radiator. It's been The Rocket Shop. I've been your host, Tom Proctor, and good night.